Hello and welcome to this very special edition of the Irish Wrestling Podcast. My name is Mark O'Brien and I'm joined by somebody incredibly topical, incredibly exciting, one of the most fascinating talents in the whole wrestling sphere over the last number of years. As somebody who's been an avid independent wrestling fan for the last decade plus, it feels like he's been on the scene forever, but when you go through his actual timeline, he's still very much fresh in the door in terms of people's
Right.
awareness of his career. I'm joined by the one and the only the upstart, the future rising star, Mr. Jack Cartwheel. Jack, how are you doing today, sir?
What's up? I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm excellent. Yeah, as we talked about before, I had surgery earlier this week, so I do apologize for all our fans watching if I'm slurring my words, but what can you do? Listen, you've had a meteoric rise in many people's eyes. Like a lot of people from this part of the world here in Ireland would know you from your GCW exploits, your work over in Japan, stuff in Mexico, be it with AAA, being kind of a mainstay of the independent wrestling scene. People would also know you from previous work when you've done stuff with AEW, be appearing on Rampage, doing stuff for Ring of Honor. But more recently, at the end of last year, you became signed to a WWE ID contract.
Yes,
How did
sir.
all that come about?
I think it just has to do with trying to become the best independent wrestler or best wrestler that I could be.
Yeah.
And exactly the things that you were saying, just growing my name big enough and doing enough things to where Cody Rhodes said it, going from undesirable to undeniable. So I think it has to do a lot with that and just yeah, sticking with it and really believing in myself too. I feel like has been a really big thing. At times it's felt like, oh, where's this going towards? What's going to happen? And in around August of last year, August, September of last year, I was told that the time to get ready is over and it's time to be ready. And at that time I also felt ready and it was just everything's about timing.
Incredible. And like, how's that experience been so far? It's like there's a perception, if you're spend too much time on internet wrestling. There's perception around WWID system was just a way for people not to be signed for other companies initially. But like, how have you found it so far? You're being the additional supports you've got in place, the additional opportunities you've got to be obviously appearing on Evolve on a weekly basis on Tubi. You're obviously I assume getting some sort of exposure to the W Performance Center and having additional coaching and scouting going on. How has that whole process been for you so far?
It's been amazing. It's been so incredible to be able to go to the performance center, exactly what you're saying, and
Yeah.
learning from the best coaches in the world, like Lindsay Dorado and Coach
Oh,
Finley
nice.
and Terry Taylor. It's been fantastic, and to bring those things that we've learned there, I think this is like one of the biggest points of WWE is to, or sorry, WWE ID to learn the tropes and the
Mm.
philosophies that they're training and executing in the performance center in WWE and bringing that to the independent scene where you don't have to do every single thing in every single match, but making
Yeah.
every single thing that you do have intent and have a meaning behind it. And just the whole program has been incredible, and it's so amazing that we still get to get those reps on the independent
Yeah.
scene while kind of straddling the WWE universe. It's very cool, and it leaves it open for us to still learn every single week. I have two, three, four shows a weekend
Wow.
already, and then working on Wednesday as well, and it's really cool. It's a first time doing the WWE ID program. So it's also still changing. It's still trying to figure out itself. And I think it's fantastic and something that a lot of independent wrestlers can strive towards because, Cappuccino Jones,
Mm.
my opponent for tomorrow, not many people knew of him. He didn't have the same accolades as I did, but he has all the talent that you need to make it and to be at this level. And as you see us together on Evolve, and tomorrow it's going to be just a fantastic show.
Yeah, no, I've no doubt it will be, and like, it's been brilliant to see the kind of partnerships WWE's had specifically with various independent companies, particularly with GCW, where you're doing this ID championship kind of an elongated basis, where you've got an official tie-in from one major company with an independent brand as well, and that kind of elevates people across the board, and it gives people like Cappuccino Jones an additional awareness within even just independent wrestling fans' eyes. They might just look at them with just a slightly different lens, take them more seriously. Obviously, being upskilled as well. But just before we kind of get into that, I just want you said something fascinating there to me. So you've got 2 to 4 shows every weekend.
Yeah.
plus you're resting on a Wednesday. Plus then you're training the performance center. So like from my own understanding, just my limited research, your guy is based typically on the West Coast.
Yes.
How are you managing, like in terms of traversing the country, probably in a like several times on the weekend? Like, how does it work with that WWID and Performance Center tie-in? Like, are you, I don't know, Monday, Tuesday, the Performance Center, Wednesday taping or Orlando, wherever it is, then Friday you're doing shows on the West Coast or God knows where. How is your week structured? Like, is that sounds mental?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I would say it's pretty close to that.
Okay.
It's pretty close to that where, yeah, multiple states in just a couple days and stuff, just making sure I have my headphones charged so I can listen to stuff on the plane or whatever. Yeah, and it's the best case scenario. No, like in in order to be a pro wrestler, working on the weekdays is probably the biggest goal that you could have.
Yeah.
Tons of people can find shows to do on a Saturday or a Sunday, but in order to really like be significant in the industry, you got to be working on the weekdays as well. Um, and also sometimes it's you look forward to like a Monday or Tuesday, which is kind of like your weekend, where you wouldn't have a show before getting ready to get amped up again for the next couple shows that you would have right after that.
My favorite part of any week is when it's either the first thing on a Saturday morning or Sunday morning because nobody's around, or if I have a day off during the week from work and nobody's around. So I'm
Yeah.
extremely envious of you. Your weekends are Monday and Tuesday. You can go out, you can do
Right.
whatever you want, and nobody's going to annoy you. You've got all the time and space in the world. In Ireland, you got no drunken idiots wandering around. Anyway, but no, listen, that sounds like the dream more than anything. And like, has there been given? So I'm fascinated by this conversation now. So is there a clear kind of pathway for you guys in terms of like if you hit certain metrics, if you hit certain, if you, I don't know, like succeed in certain avenues, you can progress onto a full WWE Performance Center NXT type contract? Is that kind of structure been put in front of you, or how enabled are you guys, and do you have supports in place to achieve that?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's also one of the big goals
Yeah,
of the WWE ID program is to
yeah,
get us who are in the ID prospect stage
mm,
onto a full NXT, Raw, SmackDown sort of contract. That's the huge goal. There isn't any specific metrics that we're
yeah,
looking at to where, everything is intangible with
yeah,
what exactly needs to be done in order to get to that stage. We've seen a couple ID prospects already, like Swipe Right, Jackson Drake, and Sean Legacy, who have made
yeah,
NXT debuts, but it's still very up in the air as to what will happen in the future in terms of getting to that next level legitimately. And we have tons of resources when we're at the performance center. You have all the people that you can talk to make friends with, to get good connections,
yeah,
and to really elevate your stock in that sort of
yeah,
sense. Uh, but yeah, it's all up in the air so far,
yeah.
and I'm just very very optimistic about it, and I'm just happy to be a part of where I'm at right now as well.
Good man, and like you're an incredibly young guy as well. And like, again, as I kind of framed at the start of this interview, like when I heard you were signed for WEID, I actually like I had it in my head you like must have been wrestling for about 10 years, but it was with maximum five at that stage. It that weird kind of pre-post COVID period where
Yes.
it just kind of felt like the whole world stopped for about 20 years. So when I heard like, okay, okay, maybe they're starting to sign more tenured independent wrestlers again, but no, Jack's actually a bloody young guy. He's still in college. He's still studying at the minute. Like, how are you managing to do that as well? Is that correct that you are still finishing your studies as well?
Yeah, no, not anymore. I
Okay.
graduated maybe
Oh, good
two
man.
years
Okay.
ago.
Okay. Sorry. All
Thank you,
right.
thank you. But yeah, a lot of what I'm glad I have
Yeah.
that that view
Okay.
that during COVID, when a
Yeah.
lot of people weren't taking bookings, there was just a lot of opportunities in Los Angeles where shows were still going on in like outside and stuff like that. So a
Yeah.
lot of people during that time kind of took a more precautious route, and I was able to make a decent name for myself
Yeah.
in that sort of time. So when start things started opening up after COVID, I have already been working all these shows when everybody else started to kind of come back,
Yeah.
But yeah, 6 years working, and but yeah, I've been a fan for 12 years, started cartwheeling 23 years ago. I thought that Mark Henry was going to come out of the ring and start attacking all the fans 17 years ago when I went to my first WWE event, So
Yeah.
it's been a fantastic process, and I'm ready to seize it all and become the WWE ID champion.
Good man, and like, you've got an incredible upbringing, kind of a background to that as well, to enable you to be in the position you're in. So, like, obviously, aside from your nickname or your kind of your name of Jack Cartwheel, like people watching the ring, it's quite obvious. But like the actual, well, please God, I hope my research is right in this now. But your actual sporting background, so gymnastics at the age of 3, into
Yeah,
powerlifting, playing football across university. Like I said, chatting to you off air, like if I said this to somebody recently, if I was to have like a son, I'd get him in gymnastics from the womb, so he's got like good muscle and movement mechanics. Then get him onto
right.
a good strength and conditioning, and just force him into rugby, then force him into wrestling. I don't care if he wants to or not. But like
Yeah.
that you literally have probably from a strength and conditioning or sports science kind of point of view, the perfect outlook in terms of you have balance, you've got footwork, you've got strength, you've got base, you've got sport, and probably toughen you out from doing football as well. Having that kind of multiple sport background, and even just from a physiological point of view, it's enabled you to kind of stand out so much. Obviously, the cartwheel thing, people can probably judge you on that, but actually, your kind of robustness and strength and conditioning on top of that probably stands you more than anything. But you have, like you touched on there, the amount of work you did during COVID and post kind of has that perception that you've been around the scene for years, or you're a tenured wrestler. But now you're part of this WWE ID Championship. As I said earlier, you're facing Cappuccino Jones tomorrow night on GCW as part of the WWE ID Championship tournament. How cool has this actual tournament in itself been? Having this platform within an independent wrestling vehicle, lifting the prestige of these shows into every time this WWE ID banner appears, giving an additional spotlight to you guys in terms of what you're doing. Because anytime these matches come around, the internet kind of lights up. There's huge promotion for these matches. It's not just they mightn't be the most heralded shows in the world, but people are aware of these matches are happening. They might not know anything else is on the card, but they know exactly who's happening or who's facing who in these tournament matches. So, what's your experience been so far as part of the ID Championship as such?
Thank you. Yeah, it's been fantastic so far, and
Yeah.
a lot of exactly what you said. That when a big idea is when WWE ID prospects come to any sort of independent show, it should be something that can bring more audiences in. It should be something that to help strengthen any sort of independent show that we're on,
Hmm.
because now you have a really solid selling point. Even like you could say that Joe Schmo is wrestling Joe Budden this show, and then people will be like, "Oh, what does that mean?" And could say like, "Oh, well, there's a WWE ID talent there." You can say the ID part a little quick. There's a WWE talent there, and then all of a sudden people are like, "Oh, I know what that is. I'll come to this show that maybe perhaps would have only had less audience,
Yeah,
without
yeah.
it." So that's that's very important. Then also throughout the tournament, it's been very cool to meet as kind of the top competitors in these local indies who also have matches on this show. So
Mm.
recently we've had when somebody's been eliminated from the tournament, when we do these ID shows, they would be against one of the local talents or one of the best from the people around. So those guys get a good look at directly from WWE, which is really cool and just an opportunity that wouldn't be happening a year ago.
Yeah, no, like, and that's exactly, and not even just a year ago. You're performing on a weekend. Like, I can't believe this slipped my mind. It's on SummerSlam weekend as well. Like,
Yes.
how cool is that? Like in itself, like you're being flown in by WWE to perform in this kind of show around the biggest. What probably the first time there's a 2 night SummerSlam. There's got over 100,000 tickets, well over 100,000 tickets sold across the 2 nights for that event, and you're part of that weekend. You're part of that promotion. You're part of the excitement, and everything kind of goes around it. How, like, as a relatively young wrestler and a young man, obviously like a mark like the rest of us, like how has that been? Like just the excitement being part of a major WWE weekend.
It's it's fantastic. It's also interesting that we uh like with GCW's
Yeah,
collective that happens at
yeah, yeah,
WrestleMania. I feel like it's a similar thing to
yeah.
that where uh this may be my third or fourth year going to a certain city because
Yeah, yeah,
the big WWE show is happening at that
yeah,
city. Therefore, there's all these shows
yeah,
going on.
yeah,
But yes, being the first time that I'm included in this WWE
mm,
uh, catalog of shows that are
yeah,
happening during this weekend, it's just remarkable, and there's a lot of pride that goes into it
mm,
too. Like I'm just very proud of how far I've been able to come, and I want to keep going and keep rolling all the wheels. The wheels got to keep rolling, you know. Like, I got to keep spinning. I got to keep winning. I got to keep, you know, just keep going because once I reach this level, it's that's not where the job ends. That's when you got to turn it up even more and prove every single time that I'm here for a reason, not just because I can be, but because you're an asset to the things that are going on.
yeah. I
Yeah.
suppose like 100%, and again that kind of go providing more strings to your bow and showing that you are an asset. They meant you're working across the country as well, and across a myriad of different environments, various different types of wrestling, different audiences, different presentations, whatever. That kind of makes you more and more valuable to WWE and stuff. But I suppose like kind of looking ahead, then like obviously you're appearing on Evolve on a weekly basis on Tubi TV. You're obviously performing the Performance Center. You're one of the most marketable people in the entire independent wrestling scene outside of that.
Thanks.
What are your kind of immediate goals? Like, say for the next 12 months, like, is it, I know, like you've mentioned, like Sean Legacy has appeared on NXT. Like, you faced him in the quarterfinals of the WWE ID Championship. Like, what are your immediate goals? Are you looking to get on NXT TV as soon as possible? Are you looking to, WWE've obviously got an affiliation with AAA now, and you've obviously appeared there previously. So, like,
hmm
what kind of your immediate goals be it for towards the end of this year, the immediate horizons, long, short, medium? What's on the horizon for yourself?
That's a great question. I would say my first immediate goal is becoming the WWE ID champion. That's what I'm focused on for the next
Yeah,
24 to 48 hours. Cappuccino Jones, he is a faceless opponent. He's not my best friend. He is the person that I have to beat in order to achieve that goal. After that, he's gonna take the blinder off and he's back to Cappuccino Jones, and I'm looking towards adrenaline drip, us together becoming the WWE Tag Team Evolve champions, which hasn't been announced yet,
yeah.
but we would think that that's coming soon. So I would say ID Championship first, Evolve Tag Team Champs next, then after that, I would definitely look forward and look towards trying to get to NXT and trying to become one of the prospects who have made an appearance there. And yeah, those are the immediate goals. And, in the next 3, 4, 5 years, who knows what could happen? But I mean, I want to be on SmackDown. I want to wrestle Roman Reigns. I want to wrestle John Cena. I want to wrestle AJ Styles, Finn Balor. Dragon Lee, Rey Mysterio. It's all possible, and it's all just dependent on the choices that I can make today and in the near future. And but right now, I'm very focused on the Tag Team Evolve Championships, the ID Championship, and making that appearance on NXT, so we can move up as a program where one of us could get signed.
You've got an incredibly grounded and present kind of outlook just from what you articulated there. You're aware of like what's on your immediate horizon, focusing on the task at hand, but also understanding that if you want to achieve your longer term goals, you got to focus on the immediate choices what you're doing on a day-to-day basis. Whereas a lot of people kind of shoot for the sky, and if things don't happen for them immediately, they get pissed off and fade away. And that's like we're all kind of guilty of that in life generally. But that's really, really impressive for such a young guy in such a demanding, independent, self-reliant career. That's hugely impressive. So you've touched on it there. Like you're in this WWE ID Championship. You're facing your former tag team partner, Cappuccino Jones, tomorrow night. It's going to be appearing on Triller TV so far through this tournament. You face Sean Legacy in the quarterfinals. You face in the semifinals. You face Brad Bader. Now you're facing Cappuccino Jones, your tag team partner with Adrenaline Drip. It is live on Triller TV. Tickets are still available through Eventbrite. Jack, if you had one message to your tag team partner, Cappuccino Jones, ahead of this, and why fans should tune in through Triller TV, or if they're in the greater Rutherford area of New Jersey, why they should attend the show, what message would you give them?
Message for Cappuccino Jones, and he's already heard it. He knows it. Any of the fans who are listening may have not heard it, but when there's a wheel, there's a way. If I can still cartwheel, I can still win. And you need to come see this WWE ID Championship match because we are literally signed off to be the best in the independent world. The whole show, top to bottom, Timothy Thatcher, Jackson Drake, Aaron Roberts, Brad Baylor, everyone is going to be on this show. This will be a fantastic show. You do not want to miss it because every single match, top of the card to the bottom of the card, will be fantastic. We'll have very solid realism, very solid storytelling, things that we really, really care about because we've dedicated our lives to this and we're excited to show it off and show it off to a large, hot crowd rather than a smaller one. In pro wrestling, the audience themselves is the soundtrack to the movie. So hopefully, people will show out, and we put on the show of a lifetime. And by the end of it, finally, we will know who the best of the WWE ID prospects is. I messed up that last sentence, but
You
the
didn't.
rest
You
is
didn't.
fine.
But ideally, we will. That's the absolute goal. Who's going to be the top ID prospect that has the champion of the ID prospects? Like I personally will be tuning in to Triller TV. Now there'll be a bit of a time zone delay, so I'll be watching in the morning when I wake up on Saturday morning, or whatever. But I am thoroughly excited for it myself, and I cannot wait to watch it. Fans can watch it through Triller TV, as I mentioned earlier. People, our Body Slam podcast, and people traveling over to the New York, New Jersey area. There are tickets still available through Eventbrite. We will send the links for both as we're promoting the show here now. Jack. Go get that
Yes.
gold and keep on wheeling.
You got it. Yes, sir. Absolutely. Thank you so much for
No
having
problem.
me.
No problem.